Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a topic that is honestly so much more than just ticking boxes on a corporate report. We're looking at standardizing safety data in the construction materials industry. This is a high-stakes world where precision doesn't just protect the bottom line, it literally protects lives. So, let's get right into it.
I want you to think about something for a second. How exactly do you standardize safety data in an industry built on massive heavy equipment and quarrying? We're talking about environments packed with intense physical hazards. From giant crushing machines to the invisible lingering threat of silica dust, precise safety tracking here isn't a luxury. It's literally a matter of life and death. You absolutely cannot just guess your way to a safer workforce. You need rigorous, standardized metrics.
And the solution to that massive challenge? It lies in the SASB standards, which are now overseen by the IFRS Foundation. These standards give us the exact, authoritative blueprint we'll be examining today for reporting these critical health and safety metrics. Think of it as a universal language. It allows companies to clearly measure and communicate their safety performance to investors, regulators, and, the general public. So here's our game plan for today. First, we'll look at the high risks in construction materials. Second, the core safety metrics. Third, the rate calculation formula. Fourth, direct versus contract employees. And finally, reporting silicosis cases. All right, kicking things off with part 1, high risks in construction materials, the human stakes. Okay, before we even touch the math, we really need to ground ourselves in the human context here. Look, employees in construction materials work in some of the most challenging environments on the planet. They're handling massive heavy equipment, navigating active quarrying sites. Blasting and rock crushing are just daily realities. And beyond those acute, immediate risks, you've got chronic health conditions creeping in, like the inhalation of silica dust over years and years. Because of these intense hazards, this industry historically faces relatively high mortality rates. So standardizing how we measure injuries and illnesses, it's definitely not just some bureaucratic hoop to jump through. It's absolutely essential for protecting the people on the ground and, by extension, reducing regulatory and financial risks. Moving right along to Section 2, the core safety metrics, specifically TIR and NMFR. Now, the crucial thing to grasp here is the difference between these two acronyms. First up, TIR, or the Total Recordable Incident Rate. This tracks actual severe incidents. We're talking about an injury or illness that actually results in death, days away from work, restricted work, or medical treatment beyond just basic first aid. It also covers significant injuries diagnosed by a doctor. Now, on the flip side, we have NMFR, the near-miss frequency rate. This is an unplanned event where thankfully no one actually got hurt and nothing was damaged. But, and this is the kicker, it absolutely had the potential to do so if circumstances were just slightly different. So TIR tracks the hard reality of injuries, while NMFR, that acts as a proactive early warning system for events that really could have been disastrous. Okay, let's get into the mechanics in Section 3, the rate calculation formula. Time to deconstruct the math. 200,000. It's a big number, right? But this specific figure is literally the vital, non-negotiable constant in our calculation formula. Let's break down exactly where this comes from. This number is actually not arbitrary at all. It's a clever way to mathematically standardize the incident rate so we can actually compare apples to apples. 200,000 represents the total annual hours worked by exactly 100 full-time workers. That's assuming they work 40 hours a week for 50 weeks a year. By anchoring all of our math to this one constant, a small local quarry with, say, 30 employees can fairly compare its safety rate to a massive global cement producer with 30,000 employees. Pretty neat, right? So let's walk through this formula step by step. Step 1. Identify your statistic count. This is your raw number of recordable incidents if you're calculating TIR, or your raw number of near misses for the NMFR. Got it? Okay. Step 2. Take that count and multiply it by our magic constant, 200,000. Finally, step 3. Divide that result by the actual total number of hours worked by all employees during the reporting year. And there you go. That simple, elegant math yields your rate, giving you a crystal clear, standardized snapshot of your overall safety environment.
But hold on a second. What actually counts as a valid statistic for Step 1? The standard is actually surprisingly strict about what defines a work-related incident. First off, it has to occur in the work environment, the physical location where employees are supposed to be for their jobs. It also includes the equipment or materials used for work, no matter where they are. What about travel? Well, travel is included, but only if the employee was actively doing work for the employer at that specific time. And lastly, and this is a big one, it has to be a brand new case. You absolutely cannot count a previously recorded injury that's just being updated.
Let's shift gears to Section 4, direct versus contract employees. Who actually counts?
This is where a lot of folks fall into a compliance trap. You have to accurately categorize the workforce whose hours and incidents go into that formula. SASB requires you to disclose these rates for two totally separate categories. First, direct employees. These are the folks directly on your payroll, everyone from full-time executives to seasonal, migrant, and part-time workers. Second, contract employees. These are workers who are not on your payroll, but your entity actively supervises or manages them. Distinguishing your payroll status from your supervisory control is an absolute must because both of these groups have to be calculated and disclosed separately.
And the scope for that second category? It is incredibly strict. Contract employees include independent contractors, folks brought in through temp agencies, and workers supplied by labor brokers. I mean, think about it. If you're directing the daily work of a temp worker on a quarry site, they're exposed to the exact same heavy equipment and dust as your direct hires, right? Their safety data absolutely matters. If you supervise them, their hours and their incidents must be included in your contract employee metrics. No exceptions. All right, bringing us to our final section, Part 5, reporting silicosis cases, a very specific industry threat. Now we're moving away from general incident rates and looking at a very specific chronic threat in the construction materials sector, silicosis. The standard defines this, using the World Health Organization classification, as pneumoconiosis resulting from exposure to dust-containing silica. Under these rules, companies have to disclose the total number of clinically diagnosed cases, and yes, that includes chronic, acute, and accelerated cases. But here is the critical part. This disclosure isn't just for your current workers. You also have to report cases affecting past employees. It's a pretty sobering metric, honestly, one that tracks the long-term, lasting health impact of working in this environment. But the reporting doesn't just stop at a raw number. Beyond just tallying up how many workers got sick, the standard mandates a detailed, narrative discussion explaining your actual implementation methods. They want to know, what are your respirator programs and safety trainings to minimize exposure? What engineering controls and ventilation procedures do you actually have in place? Are you strictly adhering to permissible silica exposure limits? This takes a simple data point and turns it into a comprehensive, hard look at a company's safety culture and technological investment. Which brings us to our final thought for today. I really want to challenge you to look at these formulas, the TIR, the NMFR, the silicosis reporting, as more than just compliance hurdles to clear. Ask yourself, are your safety metrics just numbers on a page, or are they the actual blueprint for a safer workforce? By meticulously tracking and standardizing this data, like we've explored in this explainer, the construction materials industry can turn raw insight into real action. We can continuously improve work environments and ultimately protect human lives. Thank you so much for diving into this complex but absolutely vital topic with me today. Keep learning, and I'll catch you next time.